This will be lesson chapter 2-1b, solving equations by multiplying and dividing. Just a reminder that multiplication and division are inverse operations, and we say that they can undo each other. If we look at example A, you'll note that this is a division equation. You are most often going to see division using that division bar, which makes it kind of look like a fraction. Now, the inverse of division is to multiply, and we generally show our multiplication by using parentheses. We are going to divide both sides of this equation by the -7. What we are really doing is multiplying by the reciprocal of the coefficient. The coefficient in A is really -1/7. So we are going to multiply by its reciprocal, which is -7/1 or -7. On the left side of the equation, a number times its reciprocal becomes 1. And since it's negative times negative, we'll be back to that positive 1x. Here again, you've got to remember that whenever you see an x or a z or a c or a y, whatever the variable is, if there really is no number written in front of it, then that means the coefficient is 1. On the right side of this particular equation, we are going to take a positive number times a negative number. Our answer will be negative, and 15 times 7 is 105. Since this is somewhat review, I would suggest that you hit pause, and then I will show you how to work B. Again, with a division equation, we are going to show multiplication. Please use parentheses to do that. Over -2, and then -11 times -2. So z is going to equal positive 22 in this instance, since you have a negative times a negative. Example C, you will note that this is actually a multiplication equation because it says 8 times c. You always look for that variable. Now, personally, I like to work with my variable on the left. So I can use a principle called reflection, which means that I can just exchange the sides of an equal sign. An equal sign. Not an inequality like greater than or less than, but I can do it if it's just plain equals. I'm going to bring the 8c over to my left side, and then I'm going to undo it by division. So I'm going to divide by 8, and then the 8/16 is also divided by 8. And c is going to be 102. At this time, I would suggest you hit pause and work on D. Then I'll show you how to do it. This case, because I don't have to use reflection, I'm just probably going to put my division bar right underneath the problem. And this time I'll be dividing by -6. What I'm really doing, though, is multiplying by the reciprocal of the coefficient. And y is going to equal negative times negative is positive. 30 divided by 6 is 5. Now, this last example is included because you are going to start seeing -1 used as a coefficient. When I have a variable such as g, that really means 1 times g. If I have negative, or the opposite of g, that really means -1 times g. So in this E sample, I have the opposite of n, or some people say -n, equal to 6. My coefficient here is a -1, even though it is not written. So what I need to do is divide both sides by -1. Now, some teachers just tell you, oh, take the opposite. The math behind it is to take it, divide by -1. I'll have n on the left side, and 6 divided by -1 is going to be -6. Everybody's favorite, story problems. 1/4 of the students in a class wear glasses. If there are 24 students in the class who wear glasses, how many students are in the class? Okay, there are some definite clues that you're going to have to start picking up on. You'll notice that it says 1/4 followed by the word of. That's clue to multiply. They love to do that, where they just take 1/4 of something. They really want you to multiply by 1/4. The other clue is this, the students in a class. And notice it says students in the class. Here, that's your unknown, which means you're going to need a variable. The other clue is this word are. Any form of the verb to be, is, am, was, were, are, will be, shall be, could be, those are going to be clues for equal signs. So if I look at this, I have 1/4 times the students in the class that I don't know is going to be equal to 24. You can also write this as n/4 equals 24, because to take 1/4 of something to multiply by 1/4 means the same thing as divide by 4. Now, if you remember, we did this last year too, where we said we multiply by the reciprocal of the coefficient. The reciprocal of my coefficient here is 4, or 4/1. A number times its reciprocal is 1, and 24 times 4 is going to be 96. This is a story problem, so you should have labels. The question says how many students. Look at your question. That's where your label is going to be. How many students are in the class? So my label is students. In this particular case, G, we are looking at 25 copies of a book, weigh a total of 125 pounds. Well, this total, that's your equal signs. Equals 125. What is the weight of one book? Okay? Now the truth is, the weight of a book times the number of books should equal the total. So you can also think of it in terms of words. If I know that a book weighs 3 pounds and I'm going to have 25 copies of that, my total weight is going to be 3 times 25. So my weight of the book, which I do not know, so that's my variable, times the number of books, and I'm going to put it on the left side of the variable since that's where we usually put it, is going to equal that total of 125. Divide both sides by 25, and the weight of a book is going to be 5 pounds. And that concludes today's lesson. So, scouting out.